Hi there guys, it's Grant from RUN.
Dawid from Pure Endurance.
And today we're here to talk about longevity of running shoes and trail shoes in particular. It's often a question we get asked, and it's unfortunately not something that is as straightforward and simple as to say this shoe will last you a definite amount of kilometers. So we've got a couple of shoes here. We're going to talk about a couple of different little issues. Dawid, as an ex-professional runner, triathlete, guy who's won multiple trail runs as well, can give us some interesting insight into his opinion as well.
Yeah, guys, I mean, when it comes to trail shoes, I mean, road shoes, the guys normally say 600 to 800 Ks or 800 to 1000 Ks lifespan on a road shoe. Unfortunately with trail, it doesn't compile to the same thing, because trail, different terrain that you run on. Something is just plain Jeep track, some is rocky, some is like jagged rocks that you run on. So I think the thing to remember here is just a trail shoe is made for protection, and with anything that's protecting you, if you're actually using the protection in the shoe, it might not last as long. The wearability, so if it's protecting you, that's a great thing, but the longevity might not necessarily be there.
Absolutely. And I mean, again, I always say that you need to look at time spent on your feet. So if you are doing an average marathon, 42 Ks, your average runner is finishing in about 3 to 4 hours. 42 Ks on the trail, your average guy's taking about 8 hours. So you're actually, for the same distance, you're actually putting substantially more wear and tear. You're taking more steps, you're kicking more rocks, and you actually are compressing that foam. So I would generally say, and conservatively, and I don't know if you agree, that sort of the lifespan, the amount of wear and tear, you could almost say is about 1.5 times that on a trail shoe that you would get on a normal shoe. So if you're getting, 600-700 Ks on your trail shoe, you'll probably get 800-900 Ks on your equivalent road shoe. But you're never going to get the same amount of actual kilometers, and that's just because of time spent on.
Yeah, look, and I mean, I've done trail races where I can destroy a pair of shoes in one race. Just depends on the type of terrain that you run on, and also it comes down to fatigue level, because obviously if you fatigue, you're going to kick more rocks, you're going to drag your feet more, you're not going to be as agile on the trails. So like Grant said, it comes down to time on the legs and time on the trail.
Absolutely.
When it comes to that as well.
So
like just general things. I mean, you might normally wear out the upper quicker than the bottom of the shoe, or the cushioning.
100%. Again, it's just you can make the upper of a shoe incredibly long, last long, and be very protective, but it ends up losing breathability. It ends up losing flexibility. It ends up becoming heavy. It doesn't dry quickly. It doesn't have any of those properties that you actually want from a running shoe. It then becomes more of like a hiking boot.
To give you examples, I mean, I actually brought this. I mean, I've had this walking boot for quite a long time. So, I mean, it's probably almost 10 years, and I mean, you can see it's still in a fairly good nick. But the point being is that it's a full leather upper. It's heavy. Where normal trail shoes, like let's call 300 to 350 grams. This is like 450 grams shoe. So it's not very breathable, but I mean it lasts long. But in essence, you don't want to run with it. Your feet might like, not your wallet might like you a bit more, but your feet are not going to like you very much.
And I always say people always run for a reason. And if you run because you love running, why put yourself through pain and suffering in a shoe just to get an extra 200 kilometers out of it? I mean, it's just, in the end of the day, you're detracting from doing something that you love to save $200, and it just doesn't always seem like a logical sort of thing. But again, if you look at how your average trail shoe will deteriorate, a lot of crumpling around the forefoot area, and often this little toe bumper comes loose. That's from kicking stones. It's from
hooking on stuff.
Absolutely,
branches.
It's not going to happen with a shoe like that. But again, it's just it doesn't equate to the same sort of level of technical.
Yeah, look, I mean, you get what you pay for in essence. Like, so you can go cheaper when it goes cheaper. Necessarily, normally they use cheaper, harder, firmer, heavier material. So you can probably buy for half the price. You can buy not as well-known trail running shoe brand that's very hard wearing, but then it's not going to be as comfortable.
It's not going to be as comfortable. You might blister. It might not be as breathable. It might not dry as quickly if you're doing river crossings. And again, it might not have the same level of cushioning or protection for your foot. So you are sacrificing something somewhere. But yeah, I mean, realistically, that is something that's going to happen on most products from all your brands. And to be honest with you, that's not a manufacturing fault. That's just part of the nature of trail. And a little bit of glue.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a tube of super glue in our fridge all the time. Just leave it in the fridge because it lasts longer that way. It doesn't dry as quickly. And I mean, that's a few seconds and it's glued, and it's one of those things that it's going to save that $10 that super glue is going to cost you. It's going to save you a hell of a lot more hassle than driving to the store and complaining about it, and the brand's probably most likely going to come back and say it's just normal wear and tear.
100%. And again, little nicks and scratches on the side of the upper of the shoe. Again, often from nicking little feinboss from rocks. Stones. That's part of that. And again, if the foot bulges over the side, if you have a slightly broader foot, it's always going to put more stress and strain on those weak areas.
And I mean, look, we've had the discussion. I mean, if you buy an off-road product, so even if you buy a 4x4 to drive on the road with, if you're going to hit the tree, if you're going to, a branch is going to come past and scratch you, you're not going to take it back to the manufacturer, say it's a manufacturer. It's normal wear and tear. It happens.
Absolutely. No, I know. People always believe that a trail shoe should be immune to absolutely everything, but like you said, if a 4x4 isn't immune to everything, a trail shoe is not going to be.
It is what it is. There is more wear and tear on a trail product, and it's always going to be like that.
Absolutely. And then something else we often see on the inside of the heel, that little bit of wear there. I mean, again, that can be from a couple of different things. It can be from not tying the laces properly, so you get that little bit of movement or slippage out of the heel. It can be from not undoing the laces and slipping the shoe on and off without fastening the laces.
It might just be the shape of your foot. For instance, my shoes, I do that with all my shoes, my road shoes, my trail shoes, my racing shoes. This is just the shape of my heel. It's not got a callus there. Both my shoes, it wears a little hole in there.
Yeah.
That's normally when it comes down to the end of the lifespan. The way to kind of slow the process down is to tie the shoes properly, so you have less heel slippage, less movement in the heel.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, again, we're not here to lecture you. It's just a little bit of insight. Trail shoes don't last forever. Road shoes don't last forever. And actually, if a trail shoe is actually doing its job and actually protecting you in the way that it should, it's probably going to last less than what you would actually.
It's just another thing to remember when especially when new runners start going from the road to trail. The feel of a trail shoe is completely different to a road shoe. Some people will come back and say there's something wrong with the shoe. It feels harder, it feels firmer. A trail shoe midsole is normally firmer, just as a protection property, and obviously also cushioning properties is different for trail. The terrain is more forgiving than tar. So a trail shoe's midsole will be firmer.
Absolutely. Again, often your trail shoes have that embedded plate to give you a little bit of protection, feels stiffer, and that's
all for protection.
It's all for protection. Absolutely.
Guys, something to keep in mind.
Awesome. We'll see you soon, guys.
Cheers.